Okay, we will call to order.
This conference will now be recorded.
All right. It is 6:30. We'll call to order the Capital Improvements and Advisory Committee meeting, and we'll announce the quorum is present. So, second item on the agenda, citizens' participation and comments. Are there any?
Nobody has signed up for this.
Nobody signed up? All right. We'll move on to item 3, the consent agenda. Do we have approval of the August 30th regular CIAC meeting minutes? Do I have a motion on the meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion we accept the minutes as written.
I'll approve it. Second
Right. Okay, the meeting minutes have been motion made and approved, so they're, or seconded, so they're approved. Call for a vote. You're exactly right. See the rookie here. Everybody in favor? Raise your hand. Opposed? Huh? You are on the committee. You can vote. Yes. 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 So unanimous. Right. Item number 4, public hearing and action items. So discuss, consider, and act for the CIAC biannual report update and proposal of a new CIAC meeting calendar. Presentation.
Chairman and members, we've been talking about this for a while on our side of things, about the semi-annual report, trying to get it to where it matches up better with our budget cycles within the city. And so what they've been for in the past, y'all have always done it in November and then again in May. But with the way our budget starts in June, everybody starts working up their stuff. Middle of that time is when council kind of starts needing to know what money they have from the impact fee studies. And so that's why they were kind of been talking, throwing this idea around to do a January, to meet your every 6 months, do one in January at your January meeting, and then again in July, which then that would give us those numbers to hand to city council at that point, so that they could start putting those into their budget, and they would be good, fresh numbers written that they could use. So I mean, that's the biggest reason for trying to do it, is to try to get a little closer in line with what their scheduling is. Yep, so if y'all like that idea, your next scheduled meeting for the CIAC would be January 31st of 2023, and then we'd roll back around to your July meeting in 2023 and do it again.
This was the same schedule proposed for P&Z, which was all voted on for those dates. The only thing that was moved for P&Z was moving Halloween up a week.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to make a motion that we recommend a city council. I have to recommend a city, don't I? I don't. I recommend that we accept the CIAC biannual report updated and proposal of the new CIAC meeting calendar as in agenda item number 4.1.
I second it.
You can either have a short break or you can go ahead and start P&Z, since the P&Z is scheduled to start immediately after CIAC.
We will close the CIAC Advisory Committee meeting at 6:34. All right, at 6:35, we will call to order, announce the quorum present for the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting on Tuesday, November 29th, 2022. Item number 2, citizen participation and comments. Do we have any, or did anybody sign
Not
up?
for citizen presentations. I have several for the public hearing.
Good. All right. Items of community interest. Item 3A, Haslet has a new radio station, AM 1650, if you weren't aware of that. It's a live streaming, and you can find it at this website. The primary purpose of the station is for public safety, community interest announcements, and are also intended to be broadcast. Okay? Item 3B, Saturday, December 3rd, Christmas in the Park from 3 to 7 p.m. at Gammill Park. Everybody is invited to attend that, and we ought to have a good time. Okay, item 3C, I think we talked about this last time, so there's still positions available at the City of Haslet: Parks and Ground Crew Leader, Parks and Grounds Maintenance Worker, Staff Accountant, Water Maintenance Worker 1, and Water Maintenance Worker 2. If you know anybody, or if you are interested or know anybody interested in any of those positions, it appears some of them might be entry level, some of them might require certain skills, but I think you can contact the Public Works Department or contact haslet.org and make application. So we do need workers, and we'd appreciate help finding them. So anybody that you know. Item number 4, consent agenda, approval of the October 25th regular P&Z Commission meeting minutes. We read them.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes as written.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Motion passes. The minutes are accepted. Item 5A, public hearings and action items. Discuss, consider, and act on the adoption of a new master thoroughfare plan for the City of Haslet. And the presentation will be made by Mr. Schwank.
Chairman Wallach and members of the commission, I'm going to get our screen up here first, and then I will start. All right, Chairman, we're ready to go. Okay. Yeah, this is the Master Thoroughfare Plan update, and I'm going to run through just a few slides just to remind everybody what has happened. This is the Master Thoroughfare Plan, Master Land Use Plan that was approved about a month and a half ago. Prior to that, it was about 4 months ago, we had a joint work session with the City Council and the Planning and Zoning Commission, which many of you attended. And then we had a Planning and Zoning Commission meeting on this at a public hearing, and it was recommended for approval. And then the City Council acted on this plan. On this plan are all the thoroughfares that are recommended on the Master Thoroughfare Plan. The only thing that has changed are the notion of how big they are and how many lanes they are. That is the only change. There were several changes that were brought forward and mentioned at all the public hearings and also the work sessions, that there are several changes that we anticipate, and they're shown on the board here. One is down here in this area where it's John Day Road. And then we have Schoolhouse Road, the intersection, where it currently ties into Westport, just east of 156. And then we have a little correction up here where we have Main Street tying into Keller Haslet Road at a more of an angle to push the traffic out to 156. And then there were several changes on the east side where we downplayed this portion of Harmon Road and upplayed this portion of Harmon Road here and connected it with Heritage Parkway. Additionally, Blue Mound Road on the southern part of the city, southeast corner, the road was going to dead end at Harmon Road, and we're going to have another thoroughfare going from Harmon Road out to 35 to discourage traffic going east-west all the way through on Harmon Road with a roundabout in this area. And that brings us to this map here where you can see this little dot here. That's the roundabout, and all the thoroughfares, they are identical to what's on the Master Land Use Plan, including this little hump here, this little tie into 156, the change over here on Harmon Road to Heritage Parkway, and up here on Keller Haslet Road, and how Main Street interfaces with it. So all those have been in the works for approximately 4 to 5 months. And so it's not a surprise that the Master Thoroughfare Plan reflects that those maps, which is on the Master Land Use Plan. And this is up in the top corner of the sheet that you have that shows the Master Thoroughfare Plan. Those are small drawings, but this is a little bit blow up, and it shows the right-of-way. And this is a 6-lane divided arterial, which you'll find on like Haslet Parkway, and then a Westport Parkway, as a eventual build out, and then a 5-lane undivided arterial, which is a major item for 156, where it'll be 2 lanes going north, 2 lanes going south with a continuous turn lane in the middle, and instead of a 6-lane divided thoroughfare, and then a 4-lane divided arterial, which we see in several places in the city. And then we also have a 3-lane undivided collector street that's also shown, and this is a type that we'll see down on Blue Mound Road, east of 156, all the way over to Harmon Road. Having said that, that's my presentation tonight before you go into your public hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Schwenke. So we'll open item 5A for public hearing. Is there anybody here that wishes to address item 2 in 5A?
Yes, sir. I've got several statements that I need to read, and then I have 2 comment cards for people in the audience.
Very good.
Okay, First statement is from Brad Brimley. He is a senior project manager at Binkley and Barfield. I was the engineer of record on a traffic impact analysis, a TIA, for the Laterra South development to be located north of Blue Mound Road between John Day Road and the BNSF Railroad. The TIA is dated May 25, 2022. The proposed changes to the city's master thoroughfare plan include a realignment of the existing John Day Road in this area. The existing segment of John Day Road is a 2-lane road that extends in a straight line from Blue Mound Road until it transitions to a 4-lane divided section at the Laterra North development. The total length of John Day Road in this segment will increase by more than 200 feet. Listed below, I highlight multiple negative impacts of this realignment. The increased length will increase the cost of any future reconstruction or maintenance. The increased length will increase vehicle emissions. The likelihood of crashes will increase because the number of crashes on a segment of road has a direct correlation to its length. The likelihood of crashes will increase due to the addition of road curvature. Research shows a direct correlation between road curvature and crashes. Sight distance provided along John Day Road will be reduced by the curvature. Sight distance at proposed accesses may be reduced by the curvature. Proposed access points may need to be moved to ensure adequate sight distances are provided for motorists turning onto John Day Road. Before adopting the proposed changes to the city's thoroughfare plan that realign John Day Road, I recommend that the city carefully consider the above-listed impacts that relate to safety and livability of the community. If there are any questions about details of these concerns, please do not hesitate to contact me. Second one is from Melissa Lindlow from Shoup Ventura PLLC, Attorneys and Counselors, Dallas, Texas. Dear Commissioners, this firm represents Triple T Farms Limited, the Triple T Farms, the owner of 96.622 acres of land, the Laterra South property, located in the extraterritorial jurisdiction of the city of Haslet, also known as the city. The Laterra South property directly abuts the portion of John Day Road that is proposed for realignment, John Day Road, on the draft Master Thoroughfare Plan amendment included in your November 29, 2022 meeting packet. The location of John Day Road is governed by an agreement between the city and Triple T Farms' predecessor dated July 6, 2020, also known as the LaPrelle Agreement. The right-of-way for John Day Road was dedicated to the city, and the road was constructed pursuant to the LaPrelle Agreement. John Day Road was funded and completed within the last 2 years, and its current location is dictated by Section 1.A, subsection 1 of the LaPrelle Agreement. Approximately $500,000 in city funds was allocated to construct John Day Road. Any amendment or revocation of the LaPrelle Agreement must be approved in writing by both the city and Triple T Farms as successor to the rights granted under that agreement. Here, the parties have not agreed to any amendment or revocation of that agreement. While the city has the right to amend its master thoroughfare plan, any attempt to enforce the proposed amendments to John Day Road would be a breach of Section 1.A, subsection 1 of the LaPrelle Agreement. In addition, John Day Road is a public road, and as such, the city owns the road as a trustee for the public and for the public's benefit and use. The city does not have a unilateral right to close John Day Road and remove an abutting property owner's right to access John Day Road. Section 311.008 of the Texas Transportation Code provides that the governing body of a general law municipality by ordinance may vacate, abandon, or close a street or alley of the municipality if a petition is signed by all the owners of real property abutting the street or alley is submitted to the governing body. Here, none of the owners of property abutting John Day Road submitted a petition to the city requesting that it be abandoned. On July 27, 2022, a plat application for the Laterra South property was filed with the city, also known as the plat. Due to inaction by the city, the plat was approved by operation of law. The plat shows John Day Road in its current as-built alignment. Triple T Farms has the right to develop the Laterra South property pursuant to that plat, including the right to access the existing John Day Road. The city cannot force Triple T Farms to relocate John Day Road or fund a realignment of John Day Road. Any attempt by the city to require Triple T Farms to relocate John Day Road would be an illegal extraction, and any attempt by the city to deny Triple T Farms access to the existing John Day Road would also be unlawful. Furthermore, any effort by the city to relocate this road through the Laterra South property would result in significant damages by impairing the existing vested property rights of Triple T Farms. For all of these reasons, Triple T Farms requests that the Commission vote to recommend retaining the existing alignment of John Day Road as shown on the city's current master thoroughfare plan. Third statement is from Clint Baker, Westwood Real Estate Development, Grapevine, Texas. Dear Commissioners, I am in opposition to the proposed realignment of John Day Road South. The existing road was constructed in 2020 and matched the master thoroughfare plan that has been in place since 2006. The road was constructed with city funds for the materials, and Tarrant County provided the labor through an interlocal agreement. Thoroughfare plans do change over time, but it is highly unusual to alter the alignment of an existing road, especially when the surrounding property is developed. This section of John Day Road was renamed John Day Road South, and the speed limit was reduced to 35 miles per hour by ordinance on January 17, 2022, with no mention of potential realignment during the staff presentation. On May 2, 2022, a traffic mitigation plan was presented to Council with no proposed realignment mentioned, nor any proposed speeding mitigation devices for this portion of John Day Road South. To reduce speeds, speed bumps, rumble strips, and increased signage should be utilized. Speeding occurs on John Day Road North, which has a curved road layout as well. Next one is A.L. Burton, 303 Cactus Drive, Haslet, Texas. Dear Commissioners, as a citizen of Haslet, I believe it is the responsibility of each appointed and elected official serving on any board or commission to make decisions that do not waste the citizen of Haslet's tax dollars paid to the city. Specifically, in 2020, the city of Haslet spent over $500,000 in city funds to construct the extension of John Day Road with the help of Tarrant County, manpower, and equipment. Now the idea is being floated about to realign this road on the master thoroughfare plan under the pretense that it will slow down the speed of traffic. Most, if not all, residents of Laterra, if asked, will respond that the curvature of the existing John Day Road has not reduced traffic speed. I would hope that the commission members have considered that leaving the road in its present position and installing speed bumps, similar to what has been done in the southern portion of Haslet, will not only preserve the $500,000 of taxpayers' money previously spent on this road, but will result in the same desired result with the installation of speed bumps. Therefore, please let common sense prevail and vote to leave John Day Road extension alignment as it presently exists. Next one is Beth Tomlinson. I am in opposition to the proposed realignment of John Day Road South. The current alignment of John Day Road South directly abuts the limits of the city of Fort Worth. On this property on the west side of John Day Road South, there is an approved preliminary plat for a neighborhood, and the neighborhood itself is under construction. The neighborhood calls for 3 exits onto John Day Road South. How can the alignment of this road be changed at this time? Future development will help reduce traffic and speeds in the area, and 4-way stops could be utilized at that time. Speed bumps and other traffic devices can be used to reduce speeding in the interim. I ask that you please vote to retain the alignment of John Day Road South. Next one's Taylor Hazelwood. Dear Commissioners, I am in opposition to the proposed realignment of John Day Road South. The road is in existence today and will ultimately be upgraded to a full city standards as the surrounding property develops as defined in the city's ordinances. Revising the alignment to an existing road is unnecessary and unlikely to have a substantial impact on reducing speeds. The use of speed bumps would be a more cost-effective approach. Please vote to retain the current alignment of John Day Road South. Next one is Gary Hazelwood, Triple T Farms. The Triple T Farms Limited is the owner of approximately 96 acres at the intersection of John Day Road and Blue Mound. I would like to express strong opposition to the John Day Road South realignment as shown on the proposed master thoroughfare plan. The right-of-way for the current alignment of John Day Road was dedicated to the city in July 2020 through a development agreement with the previous landowner. John Day Road was funded and constructed shortly thereafter through an interlocal agreement with Tarrant County where approximately $500,000 in city funds were used. At the time, the construction of this road was of the highest priority with the city for safety and traffic flow on this side of town. The proposed alignment of John Day Road South has remained the same since the initial thoroughfare plan was adopted in 2006 and was constructed accordingly. We purchased the property with an existing development agreement in place, as well as brand-new public road constructed in the current alignment. We feel any realignment of this road is unnecessary, costly, and would result in significant property value damages. Where else on the overall master thoroughfare plan are any existing roads showing proposed realignment? A traffic impact study was conducted on this property, and the engineering firm has substantial concerns about the proposed alignment. The curvature of the proposed road on only 96 acres, combining with screening walls that would be installed with future development, would significantly impact sight lines, especially as you approach the highly traveled Blue Mound Road intersection. If speeding and safety is the concern, we completely support the use of speed bumps, increased signage, and or additional stop signs, as is customary in other parts of the city. Those are the statements that I have received and asked to be read into the record. And then the first speaker tonight is Melissa Lindlow.
Is it on now? Okay. I'm Melissa Lindlow with Shiv Ventura PLLC. I'm an attorney representing the owner of the Laterra South project, which is Triple T Farms. As my letter points out, there's an existing agreement between the city of Haslet and the property owner that deals with the construction of John Day Road to serve that development. So we're concerned when we see this realignment on the thoroughfare plan map that's before you, because it's directly contrary to an existing contract the city made with the property owner. Again, that contract is still in effect, hasn't been terminated, hasn't expired, and it dictates the current location of the road. The road's a brand new road. It's only been there for approximately 2 years. The money was just spent by the city. The road hasn't even had a chance to have any wear on it, and the city's already talking about moving the road. The location where the city is talking about removing or realigning the road would be within the Laterra South project. Obviously, we've submitted a plat to the city in July that shows homes and lots exactly where that road is being realigned. So not only does that concern me, but it's a little bit suspicious. The timing of all of this concerns me. And any attempt to realign the road and cause it to go through lots that are on an approved preliminary plat for Laterra South would be a violation of the property owner's vested property rights. So we're very concerned about this. We're concerned about the waste of taxpayer funds. We're concerned about the impact to our project. We're concerned about a potential breach by the city of a contract that the city council made and entered into. I'm available if you have any questions. Thank you.
The second speaker is Robert, and I don't even want to try to pronounce your last name.
Good evening. Excuse me. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Robert Folsen-Logan with Hillwood Properties at 13600 Hillwood Parkway, Fort Worth, Texas 76177. I'm not here, Hillwood's not here to oppose any changes to the MTP. Rather, we'd like the opportunity to sit down with staff and talk about the need for the third lane, 3-lane divided road or 3-lane road from Transport Drive from Heritage Parkway, or excuse me, future Heritage Parkway and Intermodal. There's a lot of history behind here beyond my 15 years, even at Hillwood. I don't have all the answers, but it is a road that was off for a period of time, then was back on, and we'd like to just have the discussion with staff on the TIA and need for it. And just for the record, our perspective has always been, particularly now that Haslet Parkway and the Intermodal Parkway is solidified, that need for capacity isn't there. Two is it's incredibly difficult and costly given most of it is floodplain and a myriad of landowners. And then thirdly is frankly, doesn't add or open up from an economic development, and in fact cuts through or bifurcates one of our sites, which is the development property that we have at the corner of intermodal and that future connection. So again, just wanted to ask for the ability to meet with staff prior to it moving forward to council and discuss that specific connection. Thank you.
You're talking just from intermodal, what, between intermodal and Haslet Parkway?
Between intermodal and that
Haslet.
future heritage extension. Yes, sir.
That one there,
Yes.
going east of intermodal.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I have no one else that signed up.
Very good. Then we will close the public hearing and open this portion of the hearing to discussion, consideration, and action to the board, to the commission. So, any comments?
What's the purpose of moving that John Day South? What was the reasoning or the thinking behind that?
Several things. The road that is constructed there is a temporary throwaway road. The full construction of it will be in concrete wherever it's at, and that was a temporary solution. And one of the things that we experience south of the current Latera is it's a speedway right now because it's a straight long shot. And we have numerous complaints that come in all the time about that section of road. And we feel like putting some curves in there will help slow that traffic down so that we will not have that.
Over by Schoolhouse Road, where it turns into 156 after Lewis Lane, and Westport Parkway, where it comes out, won't that be a dead area in between those two roads?
Oh, in between here,
Yeah.
where I'm showing?
Won't
Not
that
really.
be a dead area?
No, it will not be. If we had two plans that we drew up for that area between 156 and Schoolhouse Road, showing how that area could develop on both sides of it as it comes through there, and it's a very viable plan in our opinion. Whether the road, State Highway 156, is improved to its 5-lane configuration with it down to the surface, or if it stays elevated in the near term. And there were two plans that were brought forward and shown as part of the master land use plan update that shows complete development of that area and how it could work very well.
That was the area between Schoolhouse and 156, south of
between.
Haslet
Yeah.
Parkway.
Well,
Right.
the plan also includes this area,
That area there?
up in here. Yes.
That won't be a dead area.
No, it won't be. In fact, it'll enhance this corner up here instead of having a little cut through. Because what we have now is a lot of 18-wheelers that are coming up this point here. They're turning south, and then they're finding it's a one-way, or it's not a truck route. And so
Right.
they're turning around in what is Mr. Lee's property and going the other way, and it causes a lot of traffic problems. Additionally, having two intersections real close, just east of 157, is sort of a nightmare. And so this actually increases the value of this corner here, having one major intersection instead of having Schoolhouse Road cut up through it.
I guess it's kind of difficult in my head to actually picture what that would be looking like once it's finished.
Mhm.
Right now, it looks like dead area. Like you wouldn't be able to get to it. I know the church is in that area.
Yeah, in the overall plan that we developed, the churches will access out here to Schoolhouse Road still before they go over to 156.
We don't have. That'd be nice. You had that.
If we had the
You
old
had the
versus
master
the
plan
new.
when we started this. With that first thing you put up. Can you flip that? Yeah, there you go. Talk about that for just a minute.
Yeah, as you can see get my pointer here. This is where it curves up, and there is a significant amount of floodplain that's in this area. All that white is floodplain that goes right through this intersection also. And so we're showing commercial at the corner north of it where it's buildable. And then as you go down south on the south side of Schoolhouse Road, it's also commercial. So both sides, where there's no floodplain, it's shown as commercial. And those are the areas that should be developed. And when you get into the floodplain, the floodway, then that has definite limitations on what you can do from a structure standpoint. And so it really enhances the corner up here at Westport Parkway and also 156. There's a much more buildable, especially if the road's abandoned, and then you can go all the way over from Schoolhouse to the west, and also include the property that the Economic Development Corporation owns. They could all be one big tract.
Was Haslet Parkway always a 6-lane divided? I don't remember it being that wide. It always was?
Well, it's been in several different locations, but in this location, it's been shown as a 6-lane. Yeah.
I thought originally it was proposed as 4 lanes, because originally it was actually going to be 170. Now
Yeah.
they just changed the name.
Yeah, well, it used to be actually tie into Westport Parkway. Westport Parkway used to be the road that actually came down and went over to Avondale Haslet, and then Haslet Parkway tied into it at 90 degrees, a couple versions back. So it's had a lot of changes over the course. But the current alignment is where it's planned to be, or is being built, actually.
I have one more. FM 156 you have on here as a 5-lane with a suicide lane, correct?
That is correct.
Originally, in 2018, TxDOT has it as a divided highway.
Yeah, they're showing it as a 6-lane divided thoroughfare in some of their schematics, but we're working very diligently to get that changed. What we don't want to have happen is 156 coming through town just being 100% truck traffic from north to south, and the traffic currently it's fairly bad right now with it, and it'll get worse if it becomes a major thoroughfare through there for trucks, and we think squeezing it down will actually help that. We want to encourage trucks to take intermodal over the Haslet Parkway out to 170/35 area.
For aesthetics, wouldn't a divided highway be nicer looking for our city?
Well, it may be, except for one little problem. There's a lot of people who have horse trailers and that live in the area, and they just cannot maneuver when you have a median in there, and will not be able to access a lot of the properties. And that's one of the reasons behind it is, you're right. I like divided roads with a landscape median. However, with the nature of the residents, what they have, and their mobility patterns, and this will actually help them out quite a bit.
One more. What are the chances of TxDOT actually giving us that?
Well, we're working real hard, and we've the city council has passed a resolution that encourages them to do that, and we're working on a daily basis. Every time we have a meeting, that's what they hear is the 5-lane divided. Yeah, it's one of those things, where if you don't ever ask, you never get. So we're going to push for that.
I just don't see it happening because to the south and to the north, they're actually divided highways.
So I'm still kind of new at this, so forgive me. Once this plan is approved, is there any chance any of this is going to be changed? And are we approving it as is, or is there any kind of negotiation? I was just thinking with the Hillwood folks when I talk about discussions with you.
Well,
yeah,
this board can make a recommendation, but it's ultimately the city council who will act
make the
on
final.
it. I would just want to let you know that the master land use plan, this is a direct reflection of that.
Okay.
There could be domino effects, in other words.
Exactly. Okay. She asked all my other questions, so that Right. Okay. I just want to make sure we just, you know, in our haste to approve, I want to make sure everybody has a chance to comment and get their ideas out there. Okay, that's all I have.
All right, I have some questions, Mr. Schwenk. Harmon Road, the extension of Harmon to tie into Heritage Parkway, is that going through airport property at all, south of Westport Parkway?
Oh, down here on the south?
Right through there, yeah.
I think the city of Fort Worth actually owns some property over here, but you know, that's one of those things that it can still work in that location. And the real problem with the way it was designed originally or laid out is you had Harmon Road coming up here to that little jog and then coming back up and intersecting at the worst place you could ever imagine, going down a hill on a curve and with people traveling rather fast. And what commercial developers really like, though, is having a backer road along the major interstate so you can get some circulation in here in these areas. Like right through here and then down here in this area and, of course, down here in this area. That really actually enhances the commercial viability of that corridor.
I don't have any problem with the alignment. I was just concerned about that. I know that during the acquisition phase, the right-of-way, et cetera, for Haslet Parkway, that area over there was, as a matter of fact, was held up sometime because airport, crossing airport property. And I'm not sure what part of that the airport actually owns, but obviously we all know the landing pattern is right over top of that. So anyhow,
Yeah,
and I'm sure that
there's
we've
some patterns underneath there where it's got a increasing elevation as you go away from the runways. But for example, it's actually aiming right for this hotel that sits right here, and that hotel is a 4-story. So between here and here, it climbs rather fast, and of course, it's going over Westport Parkway also. So height is not really a problem for the roadway. It might be some problems for some structures, perhaps right up in this area, but that's only if they're 3 and 4 stories.
I get it. It's a master plan. It's an idea, thought. I wasn't talking about clearance. I was talking about acquisition property, stuff like that. When you start dealing with airport buildings. Now, other question I have. John Day Road to the north of what will be called Haslet Parkway. That section of road, we're showing a curved section of road there, and then a due north section. Where does that tie into up there on the north end?
Well, it turns into John Day Road right underneath this here. Yeah, it exists. It exists right up in this area here, so we're actually just tying it in.
I got you. Okay, all right. So it's already that piece
That piece is already to the north, up in the Sendera Ranch area. Exists.
Okay, very good. So John Day Road south is that it was built recently. I understand, and I know it was constructed by the county, right away provided by the city, and it's a 2-lane asphalt road. You're showing that to be a 4-lane divided road. I assume it'll be a concrete roadway?
That is our standard.
Okay, so in any alignment through here, that existing roadway will be removed.
That is correct. It was just a temporary solution.
Right. So I understand the comments made by the attorney and by others that were read into it, wasting city money. Well, that was apparently always the intent, was to put $500,000 in there temporary to get, I understand, to get a second ingress egress into and out of Laterra, right?
Not only Laterra, but the school district, facilities up there.
Whole area.
Yeah, the whole area.
That whole area. Because with one ingress and egress, that's a problem. Yeah, all right. So that's what that was built for. It wasn't built to be permanent. It wasn't built for anything. It was just a temporary, hey, let's figure out how to get people out of Laterra down south, down Blue.
Yeah, if it was permanent, it would have been done in concrete and cost a whole lot more.
Right, okay. All right, so we know that. I heard a lot about, in several of the comments that were read in about the existing section of John Day Road South. And if we were to build a 4-lane divided road, and they were recommending that we put speed bumps. I have never in my life heard of speed bumps in a 4-lane divided road.
Well, there are several people that would have some real problems with that.
Including
The
me.
main one will be the fire departments,
Yeah.
you know, just traveling down that road. I think the residents would be complaining also. Not very many 4-lane thoroughfares have speed bumps except right at an intersection, right before you go into it. But other than that, you really don't want speed bumps.
Never heard of that on a 4-lane concrete divided road. So, yeah, that's just not a good idea in my mind. And I think that's all the questions that I have.
Yeah, I've got one. What makes this particular stretch of road, what is it, a half a mile long? What is it any different than any of these other straight line roads that we've got all through the city? And then we pick on this one road and we want to turn it into a snake.
Well, I don't.
Can you explain that to me?
Well, there are a lot of things that come into play. First off, there are existing land use patterns and existing roadways that sort of contemplate that. But as you'll look across this master thoroughfare plan, there are curves in almost every road. Yes, there are some areas that are straight, but that's due to things in the past that we have no control over.
And those streets work just fine. Why don't we leave this one alone, let it be straight, build whatever road you want to build there, and not have to go through all the trouble of making so many people upset. If I owned that land, I would be really upset about this. So I can understand how they feel. And I honestly don't see any reason to make the curve that way. I think when that develops up, I think that the traffic might slow down. The reason is if we do have the speeders there and the complaints, it's because there's nothing out there. I've driven it 50 times myself, and I'd have trouble staying at the speed limit myself. But to be honest with you, when I drive my little sports car, I really love the curved roads, and that's where I speed. So, are we ready for a motion?
Do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion.
Well, we want to make a motion on the entire master thoroughfare plan, not just one section. So, it may, yeah. So, keep that in mind. So, yes.
I understand that. I appreciate that.
All right.
I would like to make a motion that we accept the master plan, except for the revised section of making the John Day Road straight as it exists now. Yes, and I would like to add that Hillwood should have a chance to speak with the staff before it goes to the city council, please. Did I get it?
I'll second.
All right. So, take a vote. All in favor of the motion as presented? Yep. All opposed? So it's tie vote.
Our city attorney's online, but I do believe when it's a tie, it fails. Jeremy, can you?
Okay, are you guys able to hear me? Oh, God.
Jeremy, we still cannot hear you.
Sorry, I'm just getting a lot of feedback, so I mute. So a tie vote is in fact a lost vote since it's not a majority vote.
We heard a little bit of that, but motion, did you just say the motion failed?
Correct.
So we had a tie vote on the motion presented by Mr. Hilborn, and the motion failed as we had a tie vote. So do I hear another motion?
What other alternatives other than curving the road did you guys study? And why did you, so can you help me a little bit better with that, the reasoning for the curve? Was there, I mean, obviously I agree speed bumps are just a ridiculous idea in my opinion, but other than curve, what else could we do? Or is there anything else?
That's about the only thing in the short term, because there is no development, at least on the Haslet, side.
And again, I'm just making this up as I go along, would additional stop signs help at all, or is it people just going to roll through them until the development shows up?
Well, you might be hard pressed just to start plopping down stop signs, intermittently, down John Day Road. I don't think that would work. We want to keep the traffic moving, smoothly.
Correct.
Just as long as it's not just a straight. If you have a terminal vista, what you get when you have the curves, that has a calming and slowing down factor, and that is the best way to slow down that.
Because my experience has been that even with additional development, the straight lines, there's some neighborhoods over toward Fort Worth that they're overdeveloped that have straight lines. People still go 40 miles an hour. So okay. I would like to propose a motion that we accept the master thoroughfare plan with the exception that we add that we talk to have the Hillwood folks talk to the staff prior to before they go to the city council. Okay.
Do we have a second? It's tough. All right, can I second that? Okay, I'll second that motion so we can go to a vote.
Okay, fair enough.
So all in favor of the motion presented by Chuck, raise your hand. All opposed, raise your hand. Motion failed.
Is there any kind of compromise we can come up with, or is that not our purview? Okay.
Jeremy, did you hear the question?
Yes. So the purpose of the P&Z Commission is simply to review and to make any sort of recommendations to the council for the comprehensive plan or any component of it, such as the master thoroughfare plan. So there's not, you guys aren't technically revising it. You guys can submit recommendations to the council for them to accept or not accept at their discretion. But there's it's the purpose really tonight is to for you guys to submit a recommendation. If you guys don't submit a recommendation, the council can still consider it. It's not like it's not the same as a zoning change request or things like that. The under state law, the Planning and Zoning Commission simply has the power to review it, but there's no the P&Z doesn't have to approve it first for council to for the council to approve it at a later time, if that makes sense.
I have a question, Jeremy. Can we
Mhm.
could we make a motion to approve the master thoroughfare plan without the section of John Day Road South included, and leave that up to the staff and the developer, et cetera, to work on possible other alternatives? Can we do that?
Yes. And because at the end of the day, it will ultimately be up to council to accept that or not accept it, what your recommendation is. It's not necessarily a requirement for any of this, for you guys to approve a specific part of the roadway. And so you guys can make a recommendation that the city council or city staff further reviews that portion of the roadway. But again, it's ultimately going to be up to council. It's your job is simply to review it and provide any sort of recommendations.
Okay, in that case, I'll make a motion that we approve the master thoroughfare plan as submitted, with the exception of John Day Road South portion, and leave that up to city staff, that we make a recommendation to city council to approve. And also to include that section from Intermodal Parkway east over to on transport. What's that called? Transport Drive, as requested by Hilton.
I will second that.
All in favor of that motion, raise your hand. All opposed? Pass. Motion passed. So we have approved other than that section of John Day Road South. Item 5B, discuss, consider, and act on approval of a replat for Blue Mound Estates Lots 6R and 8R1. Is there anybody here to speak to that?
We have an applicant online for after the presentation.
Oh, yeah, presentation, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chairman
look like
Wallach
you
and
wanted
members
to
of the
talk.
commission, if we could go ahead and show the slide of the plat. This is right at the apex of Blue Mound Estates, right on Blue Mound Road. And they're reconfiguring the lot, the two lots that are there. One, and they both are still fairly large lots. One of the things I want to make note on this is there's you see that blue line that sort of has got an arc on the very bottom of the drawing, right through there.
Yeah.
That is the south right-of-way line of future Blue Mound Road. And when you project that up 100 feet, you'll look at the southeast corner of the plat. There's a little clip. If you can see that, just
Over here, 91.6.
Yeah, yes, over there in that area, there's a little clip where there's additional right-of-way. And there's some excess right-of-way on most of the rest of it because of just the geometry of that road. And the applicant has worked with us, and their surveyor has made those corrections. and we're recommending that you act favorably on it.
So that the last time we talked about it, the roadway was still in design.
Well,
and
it's
the
still
right-of-way hadn't been fully determined, et cetera, but you're saying those issues have been resolved.
yeah in a 3-lane pattern.
Yep.
This 100-foot of right-of-way will work,
Oh, plenty.
and that's what we've done further to the west is secured 100-foot of total right-of-way.
Yeah, that 3-lane undivided. Okay.
3-lane
All right,
undivided.
yeah. All right, and so that, remember we talked about that before that result. So do I have a motion on that? Or I'm saying discussion, I'm sorry, discussion. Thank you, Dorothy. Discussion on that, and somebody wanted to speak to that. Online? Is that Mr. Davis?
Mr. Davis, did you want to say something on this?
I heard you.
You're muted.
With subsidized help.
Okay, just a second. All right, I guess I'm working. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was just that we've worked out any right-of-way issues and we're ready to proceed with getting this thing approved. And if they got any questions, just let me know.
Any questions? I don't think we have any questions. I think that Mr. Schwanke thoroughly explained it to us, and I don't think we have a problem with it. You're the landlord.
Are we having some audio problems? Or?
I said, we don't have any questions. The commission doesn't. Mr. Schwanke thoroughly explained the right-of-way needs through there, and we are satisfied with that. So we're ready to move on if you are.
I'm ready if you are.
All right, very good. So I'll take a motion.
I got one quick question.
Yep.
Nothing else changed on here except for that right of way.
That is correct. Well, technically, I had him finish a phone number down at the bottom of the page. Other than that, it was.
Yeah. All right.
I'd like to make a motion that we recommend to City Council the approval of the replat for Blue Mound Estates Lots 6R and 8R1.
Do we have a second?
I second it.
Do we have a vote? All in favor? Motion passes, and that replat is, we recommend approval to City Council for that. Item 6A, review of current development project. Mr. Schwank.
Yeah, that is something I did not prepare, but this comes from the Building Inspections Department, giving an update on the number of lots that are and percentages of the lots that have been completed.
You know what, I think that Gary usually tells us to read it on our own.
Okay, read it on your own.
Yeah, I think that's what he says, if I'm not mistaken. So, item number 7, future agenda items.
There will be some agenda items. We have some plats that are in the works, some minor plats, but nothing major at this point.
Very good. We'll have the CIAC meeting in January, right? That'll start the meeting, and then we'll do that. All right. Anything else we need to talk about? Nope. Okay. Doreen.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
All right. We adjourned at 7:35.
In 20 years, we've never had a thought.
This conference is no longer being recorded.
Hey. Just took a little. Hey, just took a little creativity how to break that.
I was a little concerned. Can we get real creative? I'm very creative. I don't know if that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah. Well, that's why I asked Jeremy.
It's just whether or not they're.
That's why I asked Jeremy.